People love to talk, don't they? They talk when they're excited. They talk when they're scared. They talk just to feel like they matter. Like noise somehow makes them important. But the funny thing is, the louder they get, the smaller they look. And here we are, right before Wednesday. A day that won't reward mouths. It'll reward minds. Not the ones shouting their dreams to anyone willing to listen, but the ones who stayed quiet, who planned in the dark, who didn't need applause just to breathe. Because big days don't scream before they arrive. They creep in. Silent. Sharp. And when they hit, all the noise in the world can't save the people who mistook talking for preparing. So let them gossip, let them guess, let them brag. We'll keep our lips sealed, our heads down, and when Wednesday comes, they'll understand why silence is the loudest power. In the room, silence protects your plans. Not because the world is harmless, but because people are curious little creatures. They don't just listen. They pry, they poke. They pull threads just to see what unravels. The moment you speak your dreams out loud, the world starts tugging at them. Some pretend to cheer, some pretend to care, and some just want to watch you stumble so they can feel taller. That's why silence isn't weakness. It's armor. A quiet shield wrapped tight around every step you're taking, every seed you're planting, every storm you're building in the dark. When you keep your plans quiet, you keep control. You stay unpredictable. And nothing scares people more than a calm face with an unseen strategy. They can't measure you. They can't sabotage what they don't know. They can't plan against a ghost. Silence keeps your advantage sharp. Because once someone sees your blueprint, they start plotting. They question, they doubt, they distract, they discourage. Sometimes not intentionally, sometimes very intentionally. And you'd be shocked how many dreams die, not because they were impossible, but because too many mouths tasted them too early. Noise invites attention. Silence invites growth. When you talk, you gain opinions. When you stay quiet, you gain progress. The world loves to hear itself speak. Loud voices with empty hands, shouting ambitions they never back up. They think saying something is the same as becoming something. They treat noise like a trophy when it's really a leash. Because once they announce a goal, suddenly they're performing for approval instead of working for results. They become prisoners of validation, trapped in the applause they begged for. You don't need their claps. Your silence means you owe no one a show. Watch closely. The loud ones always look restless. Fidgeting, explaining, convincing, defending. They spend so much energy talking about the future that the future slips right through their fingers. Meanwhile, the quiet one sits back, watches, listens, learns. Silence gives you ears, and ears are sharper than tongues. Noise distracts you. Silence reveals everything. When you're quiet, you see people's motives, their weaknesses, their lies, their patterns. You study while they broadcast. You collect information while they waste it. You sharpen your blade while they dull theirs on gossip and attention. And there's an art to holding your tongue. It's not easy. People hate the unknown. They hate not knowing what you're thinking. They prod you with questions, tease you with doubt, tempt you with the chance to prove something. But power is resisting. Power is smiling while they try to read a face that refuses to turn into a diary. Power is walking your path like you're carrying a secret destiny, and they can feel it. They just can't touch it. Understand something. Not everyone who smiles at you wants you to win. Some only clap so they can hear you talk. Some only listen so they can twist your words. Some only pretend to care so they can calculate where to slip the knife. Silence denies them the map. You owe no one your plans, your timeline, your dreams, your strategy. Let them stay blind. Let them guess. Let them choke on curiosity while you build quietly, brick by hidden brick, moment by moment, becoming everything they never saw coming. There's a peculiar kind of peace in silence, too. A calm madness in knowing what you're capable of without needing to broadcast it. You walk differently when nobody knows what you're preparing for. You think clearer. You move smarter. You don't rush to prove. You wait to show. And showing is always louder than telling. Silence isn't empty. It's loaded. Every quiet day is a bullet in the chamber. Every secret effort is gunpowder. Every ignored doubt from someone else is gasoline waiting for your spark. And when the moment arrives, when the result finally surfaces, the silence breaks, not with words, but with reality so undeniable it echoes louder than every voice that ever questioned you. Keep your plans close, like a wicked little grin hidden behind still lips. Let the world underestimate you. Let them assume you're idle, clueless, harmless. Let them talk themselves into comfort. Because while they chatter and guess and play pretend, you'll be sharpening the thing they never saw you build. And one day they'll turn around, and there you'll stand, already done, already risen, already beyond their reach, while they're still trying to figure out when you started and how they missed every sign that something was coming at them in silence. Wednesday demands discipline. Not the kind people pretend to have when they post their goals all over the place, chest puffed out like a rooster in an empty yard. No, real discipline is quiet, dull, repetitive, almost boring to anyone who doesn't understand power. It's the kind where you wake up when you don't feel like it, move when the world feels heavy, and grind when no applause is waiting for you. Most people crave motivation, that spark, that rush. But Wednesday isn't coming for the ones who wait for a spark. It's coming for the ones who kept working long after the excitement died. The ones who trained their mind like a weapon and tamed their impulses like a beast on a leash. See, big days don't ask how you feel. They don't wait for you to be ready. They crash in whether you're disciplined or not, and those without structure always break first. They scramble, panic, stretch their hands out begging for a miracle, while the disciplined ones simply step forward, calm, focused, almost amused. Because they didn't hope for Wednesday to be massive. They prepared for it. Discipline is preparation. And preparation is what makes big moments feel small to those who deserve them. Funny how people admire discipline from a distance. They like the idea of control, consistency, strength, until it requires sacrifice, until they have to give up comfort, silence entertainment, shut out noise, distance themselves from distractions disguised as friends. They don't realize that discipline is loneliness wrapped in determination. It's saying no more times than you say yes. It's walking away from easy things, tempting things, noisy things. Because greatness doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in deliberate steps, repeated again and again, long after the thrill disappears. And there's something beautifully unsettling about someone who is disciplined. They don't brag. They don't announce. They just show up every single time. There's a coldness to them, a stillness in their eyes, like they're living a few days ahead of everyone else, already seeing Wednesday while the others are still stuck in yesterday. They don't rush, because rushing is for the unprepared. They don't boast, because their work speaks louder than their throat ever could. Their silence isn't weakness. It's a countdown. And that quiet consistency unnerves people. It makes them uncomfortable, because consistency reveals insecurity in others. It exposes laziness, excuses, softness disguised as ambition. Discipline is a quiet rebellion in a world addicted to shortcuts. Everyone wants fast results, fast recognition, fast reward, like life is some vending machine you kick for free prizes. But discipline knows the truth. You build piece by piece, not swipe by swipe. And while people waste time chasing motivation, like it's magic dust, discipline builds habits that don't care about mood. Motivation fades. Discipline doesn't need applause. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't need the world to watch. It's a private promise to yourself. And breaking it always hurts more than keeping it. People fear those who master themselves. You ever notice that? They insult discipline, mock seriousness, laugh at commitment. Not because it's funny, but because they're terrified of what it says about them. Your discipline holds up a mirror they don't want to look into. It whispers, "You could be more. You just chose comfort instead." That whisper eats them alive. So they try to drag you down, distract you, pull you into their noise so they don't have to face their stillness. But you don't flinch. Not because you're heartless, but because you understand something they don't. Greatness requires sacrifice. And most people only want greatness until they meet the bill. Discipline pays that bill daily, quietly, without asking for discounts. It moves methodically, like gears in a clock, slow, steady, inevitable. And while the world laughs at the grind, discipline is smiling back, a polite little grin as if to say, "We'll see who's laughing when the results show." Wednesday isn't massive by accident. It becomes massive because discipline built the foundation long before the day arrived. Every silent night, every ignored distraction, every moment you chose progress over pleasure. That's what makes Wednesday matter. That's what gives it weight. It's not the day. It's the discipline behind it. Most will show up unprepared, hoping luck will save them. But discipline doesn't gamble. It doesn't hope. It knows. It stands firm, unwavering, while the undisciplined shake in their shoes. wishing they had done more when they still had time. And that's the secret. Discipline gives you time. Real time. Advantage, control. While the rest gasp for air. Discipline breathes slow, steady, certain. Already living in the outcome that others only dream about. Action over announcement. Strange how people believe the world owes them something just because they said they were going to do it. They think speaking a dream somehow earns them a piece of it, like words are currency and effort is optional. They make noise. They make promises. They make grand statements about what's coming, who they'll become, what they'll achieve. But words alone are cheap. They don't lift you. They don't move you. They just echo around until they fade. And most people fade with them. Action. Now that's different. Action doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need a stage. Action is quiet, ruthless, unforgiving, and real. It doesn't care how confident you sounded when you bragged. It only cares about what you did when no one was watching. Anyone can declare a destination, but only the disciplined, the relentless. The quietly obsessed actually start walking toward it. Even if the road is long, even if the steps are small, even if no one believes in them yet. Action is messy, silent, and lonely. And that's why most people choose noise instead. Noise is easy. Action demands everything. You ever notice how the loudest dreams usually come from the stillest hands? The ones who talk the most do the least. They drain their own ambition by leaking it through their lips. Every time they speak their goal, they feel a small hit of satisfaction. And that's enough for them. They'd rather sound like a winner than actually become one. It's a sickness, really. This addiction to announcing instead of building. A habit of putting energy into performance instead of progress. They think they're moving just because their mouth is. But the dangerous ones, the ones who scare the room without raising their voice, those are the ones who act. They don't talk about grinding, they grind. They don't broadcast their moves, they make them. There's a kind of madness in quiet workers, an electricity under their skin that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels. They don't need to prove anything, because they're too busy becoming everything. When they work, there's no soundtrack, no theatrics, no ego, just motion, consistent, intentional motion. And while others waste breath explaining what they're about to do, these silent ones sharpen themselves in shadows, preparing to appear in the light as someone unrecognizable. Action humbles you. It teaches you with bruises, not compliments. It exposes your weaknesses, your excuses, your limits. And then it dares you to keep going anyway. Talking lets you avoid those confrontations. It lets you stay comfortable, protected, delusional. The tongue builds fantasies. The hands build futures. So the talkers stay soft while the doers turn steel. And when the moment comes, when all the noise is stripped away, only one thing stands: what you actually did. Not what you planned, not what you promised, not what you posted, what you built. There's also a beautiful cruelty in action. It doesn't save you if you slack. It doesn't lie to you to spare your feelings. Action will expose every lazy moment, every wasted hour, every empty claim. And that's why it's powerful. Because you can hide behind words, but you can't hide from work. It keeps score in private and reveals results in public. Quiet preparation becomes loud success, and loud promises become quiet excuses. That's the game. It always has been. People fear those who move without announcing. They hate not knowing what you're up to. They whisper. They guess. They create stories in their heads. Your silence brings out their insecurity. Your progress, unseen but inevitable, burns them more than any insult ever could. While they wait for perfect timing, you act. While they ask for approval, you act. While they drown in their own noise, choking on their own declarations, you act. And when the result appears, they'll call you lucky. Luck. The favorite word of people who never lifted anything heavier than their ego. So don't say it. Do it. Don't promise. Produce. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them gossip in circles while you move in straight lines. Actions don't need validation. They create it. They don't chase respect. They earn it. They don't shout ambition. They make it real. And when the day comes, when the outcome stands cold and undeniable, the world won't remember your speeches. It will remember your results. Patience builds power. Not the soft kind of patience where someone waits and whines and counts minutes like a child standing by an ice cream truck. No, the real kind is darker, heavier, quieter. It's the patience of someone sharpening a blade in a locked room, smiling because they already know the outcome, even if no one else can see it yet. Most people think patience is just waiting, standing still, twiddling thumbs, hoping life will eventually reward them. But true patience isn't idle. It breathes, it grows, it prepares, it tightens its grip on reality and says, not yet, but soon. And that soon frightens people because they don't understand it. They rush, they sprint, they flail around like their dreams have an expiration date. They get restless the moment things don't come fast enough. If success doesn't knock by lunchtime, they call it impossible and look for something easier, cheaper, noisier. They hate the idea that great things take time, and they crumble under that truth. Their impatience betrays them. It makes fools loud and the unprepared desperate. Patience, though, patience is a silent predator. It watches, it studies, it collects every detail, every weakness, every opportunity, like a magician collecting secrets before the final act. It's not still, it's calculating. Quiet, yes, but never passive. There's a hunger in patience, a kind that doesn't roar. It simmers. It waits for the exact second to strike, not because it's slow, but because timing is more powerful than strength. Hit too early, you miss. Hit too late, you lose. Strike exactly when the world isn't looking, and suddenly you turn from invisible to inevitable. Most people can't handle that. They reveal themselves too early. They rush to prove, rush to speak, rush to show progress, because silence feels like suffocating to them. They don't realize that the seed doesn't scream while it breaks the ground. The storm doesn't announce itself while gathering clouds. Power grows quietly, always has, always will. Loud beginnings rarely last. Quiet beginnings, those are the ones that turn into revolutions. There's a certain twisted satisfaction in patience. Watching others boast while you build. Seeing them laugh at your stillness because they think nothing's happening. Let them laugh. Let them assume. Let them underestimate. There's nothing more delicious than someone thinking they've figured you out when they haven't even scratched the surface. Patience isn't about letting time pass. It's about letting illusions die. It's about watching pretenders tire themselves out while you conserve your fire. It's about knowing the stage will be yours eventually and not needing anyone to clap prematurely. Most people quit right before things shift. They give up inches away from the breakthrough because they couldn't handle silence, couldn't stomach uncertainty, couldn't trust their grind without external proof. They think progress should feel obvious, visible, glamorous. They forget that diamonds form in pressure and darkness, not on display shelves. Real power needs shadow before spotlight. It needs discipline before reward. It needs patience before explosion. But patience isn't comfortable. It's itchy. It pokes at your nerves. It asks, do you really want this? Enough to wait. Enough to trust the unseen. And only the ones who answer yes without flinching get to see what happens next. Everyone else breaks. They take shortcuts. They brag for validation. They chase easy dopamine instead of difficult growth. They trade long-term power for short-term applause. They lose because they couldn't sit still long enough to win. The dangerous ones, the ones who rise unexpectedly, they master patience like a religion. They move like time belongs to them, like the universe owes them silence before recognition. They aren't dead when they look quiet. They're charging. Every second they wait, they sharpen. Every moment they hold back, they load another bullet of potential. And when the moment comes, they don't knock. They kick the door off its hinges. Patience builds a different kind of confidence. Not loud confidence, not showy confidence, but the kind that settles into your bones. The kind that makes you walk slower, talk softer, smile like you know something others don't, because you do. You know nothing happening on the surface doesn't mean nothing is happening at all. You know growth isn't always visible. Sometimes it's internal, invisible, unstoppable. You know timing beats talent, silence beats noise, and patience beats everything that rushes. Let them hurry. Let them chase attention like starving animals. Let them throw themselves at shortcuts that crumble under their weight. You stay still. You build quietly. You hold your hunger close like a secret flame. Because when patience finally opens the door, it doesn't open it gently. It swings it wide. And only the ones who waited with intention are standing steady enough to walk through. Results speak for you. Funny thing about people, they treat words like trophies and results like background noise. They think claiming something is the same as earning it, like the universe takes reservations. They puff their chests, run their mouths, and expect applause just because they intend to do something someday somehow. But intentions don't echo. Talk doesn't leave footprints. Only results do. And results, oh, they have a beautiful way of silencing every critic, every doubter, every loud mouth that ever tried to measure you before you were finished. Results don't need explanations. They don't need you to convince anyone. They don't need a microphone. The moment you walk in with real achievement, the whole room shifts without you saying a single word. Suddenly, people lean in. Suddenly, eyes follow. Suddenly, all those folks who ignored you when you were quiet pretend they always believed in you. That's the comedy of life. They don't respect the process. They worship the outcome. They don't cheer for the climb. They only clap when you reach the top. And that's why you don't waste breath proving yourself along the way. You prove yourself when there's nothing left to argue about. Results don't come wrapped in comfort. They come from those long nights you didn't brag about, those sacrifices nobody saw, those silent battles where you chose progress over peace. You bleed privately so you can walk publicly without flinching. You grind in the dark so your success blinds the people who swore you'd never shine. That's the power of results. They don't negotiate. They don't ask permission to exist. They arrive like a punchline to a joke nobody saw coming. And suddenly, everyone's very, very quiet. People fear results more than they fear effort. Effort can be excused. At least I tried. Words can be defended. I'm planning. But results, they're undeniable. They expose who really worked and who only wished. They peel back the layers of excuses like ripping off wallpaper. Ugly truth underneath. Results don't protect egos. They crush fantasies and crown factories. The world splits into two types, those who did and those who almost did. And almost becomes a ghost that haunts the loud ones forever. That's why results are intimidating. They force comparison. They make pretenders uncomfortable. When you walk in with something real, the room adjusts. The talkers shrink. The jealous choke on their own envy, trying to smile while their ego melts. They despise you, admire you, fear you, sometimes all at once, because your existence becomes evidence of what they could have been if they hadn't chosen convenience over consistency. Results don't just speak, they accuse, they whisper, "Where were you while I was building?" And silence suddenly surrounds those who wasted time bragging instead of working. You don't need to argue with someone when you have proof. Proof laughs quietly. Like a secret that finally stepped into daylight. It doesn't fight back. It doesn't need to. When you become what you said you would, every insult becomes comedic. Every doubt becomes fuel. Every laugh becomes background noise. People stop asking if you can. They start asking how. And the best part, you never have to explain. They'll study you whether you speak or not, because results turn you into a mystery they wish they could solve. But here's the trick. Results aren't just rewards. They're responsibilities. Once you taste real success, talking becomes boring. You don't crave validation. You crave more growth. You realize noise is for amateurs. Professionals speak with outcome. Warriors speak with scars. Builders speak with structures, not stories. You don't brag anymore, not because you're shy, but because progress becomes addictive. And why brag when you can build? Why announce when you can arrive? Why debate when you can dominate? Let people doubt. Let them gossip. Let them predict failure in rooms you're not in. Let them assume. Let them whisper. Let them misjudge. None of it matters. None of it sticks. Because when results walk in, every voice goes quiet. Every mouth shuts. Every fake friend claps softly while wondering how you did it without them knowing. Results make the world listen, even if you never speak another word. So save your breath. Save your stories. Save your energy for the work, not the attention. Because when the moment comes, when your results enter the room first, you won't need to say a thing. The world will speak for you. The silence afterward won't feel empty. It'll feel powerful, heavy, electric. The kind of silence earned, not gifted. The kind of silence only real results can buy.